First, we both, our governments both, our peoples both have tremendous admiration for President Zelenskyy, for his entire team, for the Ukrainian people that they represent. But the courage they've shown, the strength, the determination, the dignity faced with this Russian onslaught is extraordinary. And it's powerfully moving, I think, to people around the world. If I were in President Zelenskyy's position, I'm sure I would be asking for everything possible in his mind to help the Ukrainian people. And as the Foreign Secretary and I have laid out, both of our countries and so many others have done extraordinary things to make sure that the Ukrainians have in their hands the means to effectively defend themselves against this war of choice from Russia, as well as to do everything we can with very significant resources to care for Ukrainian people to the best of our ability inside Ukraine, those who've been forced to flee outside of Ukraine to meet their humanitarian needs. And the goal is the same. It's to end this aggression, it's to save lives, and to prevent more senseless bloodshed. As part of that, we also have to see to it that this war does not expand. Our goal is to end the war, not to expand it, including potentially expand it to NATO territory. We want to make sure that it's not prolonged to the best of our ability. Otherwise, it's going to turn even deadlier, involve more people, and I think potentially even make things harder to resolve in Ukraine itself. So, as the Foreign Secretary said, we have exactly the same perspective on that. Introducing, in our case, American service members in Ukraine, on Ukrainian territory or soil, or American pilots into Ukrainian airspace, whether on a full or on a limited basis, would almost certainly lead to direct conflict between the United States, between NATO, and Russia. And that would expand the conflict. It would prolong it. It would make it much more deadlier than it already is. And that would be neither in the interest of our countries nor in the interest of Ukraine. I can't speak for NATO, obviously, but we've heard the same message from its Secretary General, Jens Stoltenberg.
Nick Wadhams of Bloomberg.
Thanks very much. Mr. Secretary, first for you on Venezuela, can you just tell us whether the U.S. is considering easing sanctions on Venezuela to get its oil absent of any progress on the negotiations with the opposition? And then second, for both of you on the sanctions and the endgame, you mentioned, Foreign Secretary, that Putin must fail. So is it your strategy now to essentially exert so much pressure on the Russian people, oligarchs around Vladimir Putin, so that Russia will essentially, as Undersecretary Nuland said yesterday, might rise up and, I don't know what, potentially overthrow him? Do you believe now that it's simply impossible for the United States to have a productive or stable relationship with Russia if Vladimir Putin remains in power, either during or once this conflict is over? Thank you.
I'm happy to start. Nick, with regard to Venezuela, we have a set of interests with Venezuela. They include, of course, supporting the democratic aspirations of the Venezuelan people. They include securing the release of Americans who are unjustly detained there. And happily last night, as you heard, 2 Americans, Gustavo Cardenas and Jorge Fernandez, were released. They had been wrongfully detained. They're now reunited with their families. And it's also true that we have an interest globally in maintaining a steady supply of energy, including through our diplomatic efforts. So all of these things come to bear when it comes to Venezuela, as well as to other countries around the world where we have a multiplicity of interests and use diplomacy to try to advance them. And again, I have to say I'm very pleased that diplomacy brought 2 unjustly detained Americans home just last night. We will never let up anywhere, at any time, in the efforts to bring Americans who are unjustly detained back home.